everybody, welcome back to Taji's World of Books, and I'm here to talk to you about two fantastic series that I just read. Hey everybody, welcome back. So as you saw from the tagline, I just read two freaking fantastic series. They're oldies, like I think they're written like 2014-ish, 15, around that time frame. But they are so good, and I'm so excited to gush about these. And if you have not read them, I highly suggest that you run. You don't walk, you run to Amazon, get on there and order it because they are so good. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so the first series that I want to talk to you about is Meredith Wild. And I read Meredith Wild, a series by Meredith Wild called, like, it was her Red Line. It was about an assassin. One of her other series. I think it was like an assassin or what the heck? Let me see if it... Yeah, she doesn't have her books listed in here. But it was some other series, and I just didn't like it. It wasn't great. So when I came across this one, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like it. I'm so glad that I gave it a chance. And this is her Hacker series. And there are 5 books in total in the series. And it goes as such: Hardwired, Hard Pressed, Hard Line, Hard Limit, and Hard Love. And man, oh man, do these books pack a punch. They are so good. They're so good. So because it's a series, and the series covers one couple in its entirety and all of the ups and downs and the things that this particular couple goes through, I'm not going to talk about each individual book, but rather I'm going to talk about the series as a whole. So as I said, this story covers one particular couple, and that couple is Blake Landon and Erica Hathaway. And Erica is a Harvard graduate, and she is part of a Silicon Valley tech startup company. And her company is called Clothespin. And the way that they describe it, it makes me think of like, you know, those services where you, like, it's a fashion brand and it puts all the look together for you. And you go in and you order the things that you want, and it's like a subscription service, and it has like a designer for you, and it sends you all of the looks, you know, at a fraction of the cost. And that basically is the startup company. And so she's graduating from Harvard. They're in Boston. She's graduating from Harvard, and she decides that she is going to pitch this to a group of investors. And so she goes to this investor group, and she pitches her company. And there are several people that are on the board that are there, and these are billionaires that want to invest in companies. And one of the billionaires is this guy named Max. And Max has a brother or a stepbrother or, you know, a close ally. I think he's a brother. I never really fleshed that out, but I think he's a brother or a distant relation that he has an ongoing rivalry with, and his name is Blake Landon. And so as she pitches the deal, everybody passes on it, and Blake like really pushes her, and it's very clear that he's attracted to her, but he's also an asshole. He says things like, so tell me about your personal life, tell me about your dating life. And she's like, what does my dating life have anything to do with my startup company and whether you're going to invest in my company or not? And he's like, well, that's going to tell me how invested you are in your own company, and if you believe in it, or if you're going to be able to put your personal life aside. And she just is like, this guy's a fucking asshole. So she doesn't like him. And so Max decides that he's going to undercut Blake, and he is going to invest $4 million in her startup company. And that's where the story takes off. Well, what we don't know is that there's a backstory with Max and Blake. Blake is a hacker and has been a hacker. He's a genius, and he's come up the ranks as a hacker. He developed one of the first banking security softwares when he was like just a teenager, because he hacked into one of the major banking systems and caused great havoc and mayhem. But they didn't necessarily know that he had done that. And so he took, you know, to get out of trouble, he took the software and the technology that he used to hack the system to make the banking system safer. So he made billions on this. But he also worked with an underground hacking organization of other kids that he sort of were his allies, in a group that he worked with. And as a result of a falling out, they now are at odds and are going to do whatever they can to destroy Blake. Blake has set his sights on Erica, and it is their story of them trying to figure out how they are wired, what their hard line is, because Blake also, because this is written in 2014 during the time of the 50 Shades of Grey, 2013, the 50 Shades of Grey movement, he is heavily involved in the kink scene, and he likes to inflict pain. He has had a submissive in the past, and he's not about like dom, sub, let's play. Like, he had a slave in the past. So he wants 24-hour domination, and he wants to dominate every area of Erica's life. And Erica is like, I am not giving that to you, but she wants to give in so much, but there's something in her that prevents her from giving in. And giving him what he wants. And so there's a lot of push and pull and a lot of angst. There's also a dark secret that's hidden in Erica's past that she doesn't even know about. Her mother died when Erica was 12 years old of cancer, and she never knew her father. And so that storyline comes out as well. And when I say that this series packs a punch, I'm telling you, it is so good. And how you end up over here with Hard Love is fantastic. It's so good the way that it ends up. I love this book, these stories so much. Blake also has a younger brother. I don't remember his brother's name. And Erica has a best friend, and they wind up sort of connecting, and there is a backstory line with Blake's brother with substance abuse and substance addiction. There's always a past ex-girlfriend who's coming in trying to cause drama. There's, you know, FBI involvement. There are police and detectives. There are crimes being committed, trying to solve crimes, people going to jail. There is just a lot going on in this series, and it delivers so much, and the spice and the kink is just fantastic. When I say that this is so good, like, I could harken back to the old days of, like, you know, when you follow a couple, you know that they're together, but they got to work through some stuff. They're going to figure it out, and it's their ups and downs and how they kind of come to that culmination of becoming a better version of themselves, to be together, to be a better version of who they need to be for each other. And it is fantastic. And it ends up, you know, I think like 10 years out. So you get to see where everybody winds up 10 years out, which I absolutely love. So overall, I'm going to give this a 5 rating. I'm going to give it a 4 spice, and I'm going to give it a 5 spice. It is spicy as fuck. It is so good. It is so good. So I think that you guys should I highly recommend it, and I think you should really check it out. And like I said, it's 5 books, and it is just so good. Okay, so then the next series that I want to talk to you about, and I was not expecting this. I love this author, and I went back and looked, and I have read every single book that this author has put out except for one, and that is B.B. Reid. I have read all of B.B. Reid's books. One of my all-time favorite series is her it's the dark bully romance. It's Fear Me. Fear Me is my all-time favorite. I love that book, that series so much. And she wrote this right after that. Then she wrote the Punk and the Puppet and the Pier and she wrote that series. And I didn't like it as much. I liked it, but not quite as much. And then the only thing I have not read that she has written is her Lilac series. And the reason I know this is because the way this ends, she says at the end of this that 3 of these characters that I absolutely freaking love are going to get a spin-off. But this was written in 2017, and none of the spin-off has not been written yet. So rest assured, I'm going to be writing to B.B. Reid. She's been on our sites. We wanted to get her on Addicted to Audio with Charles. So I'm going to write to her and see if she'll come on and talk a little bit about, and see if we can coax out some information about that. So having said that, there are 2 books in this duet. She originally planned for it to be a standalone, and I'm glad she didn't, because the way that this ended, I was gutted. And I was still gutted over the way that it ended, because it's like a happy for now type situation, but it's so damn good. And it is a dark romance. When I say dark, like, I haven't read dark like this in a long time. And then I was like, I forgot, when BB writes dark, like, Fear Me is no freaking joke. Like, this girl gets put through the ringer. So here's the deal. So the story is, it's kind of complicated. It's written about Angel and Mylan. Mylan and Angel's families are connected, and the story is told in a split timeline, current and past, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 18 years ago, so you can see how everything sort of came to a culmination. The story starts off with Mylan, a high school girl. Her father has gone to jail. She lives with her aunt and uncle. Her mother is dead. She has a best friend named Aaron, and Aaron's like, girl, why are you hanging on to that V card? You need to get rid of that V card. You need to be like, don't do that. Like, you know, just like you're going out with like a senator's son. He's like amazing. So she's getting ready for this hot date. She's getting herself all together, and she goes out on the date. He winds up taking to her frat party. Immediately she gets a sense that like something's off. Of course he takes her to the frat party and shit goes down. I'm not gonna reveal too much, but check out the trigger warnings. When I say it's dark, this is some dark shit. Okay, so check out the trigger warnings. So they go to the frat party and some stuff goes down. Okay, so then it skips 18 months later, and she is in a completely different set of circumstances, and she is in dire straits and desperate. And she says to her father, I need to know the job that you were working on right before when you like went down, when you went to prison. And he's like, no. She's like, I need that cash. Like, I'm desperate. I have no food. Like, I'm desperate. And so the father relents and gives her the information, because he's refused to talk to her for these years, 3 years that he's been away in prison, because he feels like I'm a danger and a detriment to you, and you need to be separated from me to keep you safe. So he finally relents. He gives her the information, and she goes and breaks in this house. And when she breaks in this house and she finds the safe, she doesn't find what she's looking for. There's nothing in there. And so she doesn't even get to break in the safe. That's what it is. She doesn't get to break in the safe because somebody comes home. And so she steals a watch. And make a long story short, she gets caught. So the story basically unfolds from there. And you start to see that there are some significant players. There's Aaron and the senator, his father. There's Mylan and Angel. And Angel has two of his best mates, Z and Lucas, right? And then Mylan has her best friend, Anna. And then there's Anna's story. So here's how it works. Anna and Angel, their two parents knew each other. So there's a connection there. Lucas and Z are connected to Angel. They come in on the later in the story. And then Anna has Aaron and Anna, and Aaron's father is a senator, so they're on her side. And all of these forces sort of collide. And this is a story of intrigue, secret societies, syndicated crime, long family legacy of roles and things that have been passed down, titles. So there's the bandit, there's the knight, and it's a long history of these titles being passed down from generation to generation, from son to son, from family to family, ruling over a larger criminal enterprise. And this is a dark story. It is so dark and so good and so fantastic. And the stuff that they do in this book is out of this freaking planet. It's out of this world. Like, there are parts of it that I was super uncomfortable. Like, I was like, I don't know how you can come back from this. Like, when you do this, and it's stuff that Angel does to Anna, I was like, how is she ever going to forgive you? I am pissed at you. I can't believe that this is how it went down. And it is just crazy, the stuff that goes down. It's fast paced, it's spicy, it's steamy, even though steam doesn't get down in this book, but it kind of does. It's just crazy. And I loved it for every ounce that it was worth. I could not put it down. I read it in like a lickety-split time because it was such a page turner. This ends on a cliff note, a cliffhanger. You're sort of like, what in the hell? Like, you were not expecting that to happen. I was like, oh my gosh. And I couldn't even imagine if this was a standalone, I would have just been like, I'm so upset. I would have been like, BB Reid, we got to talk, girl, because I am upset that you ended this book this way. What is going on? Really, really good. It is a 5 out of 5. It is a 5 angst, and it is a 4 spice. It is fantastic. So then you go into the sequel, The Night, and the story sort of continues. It evolves. Mysteries are being solved. Questions are being answered. Characters are being flushed out. You know, you're sort of still questioning, is it going in this direction or that direction? It just is a stunning conclusion to a masterful duet. I absolutely loved it. I loved how it ended. I wanted more. I wanted to see, but it ended in a very realistic way. Like, I would have loved it to like end on this completely high, like over the top, and it kind of did, but it kind of was more realistic because, like I said, for an author to take you from this to this is like masterful, and she did it with grace and ease, and I loved it. I gave this a 5 out of 5 star. I gave it a 5 angst, and I gave it a 5 in terms of spice. It delivered in so many ways, and it was also very realistic in terms of like what you have to, conclusions and choices that you have to make, and what you're willing to sacrifice and what you're willing to do, and if you can turn it around and turn your life around and make better of it. And this series delivered in much the way that Fear Me, that series delivered. She brought it just like that with this, because I was like a little bit kind of, when I read, you know, the puppet and the other series that she wrote right after this, it doesn't deliver in quite the same way. But this was like back to old BB Reid. I absolutely loved it. It was fan-freaking-tastic. So I think that you should try it for sure. And like I said, this was a really great start of the reading week for me, because everything was just superb. And just like this, the hard series, the hacker series, this is so good and so spicy, and I love this couple, and I was just like, how am I going to read something after this? It's not going to like deliver. It's not going to live up to, because that was so fantastic. And then I read BB Reid, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just totally blown away. So whatever I read after this is going to pale in comparison, but maybe not. Maybe I'll be totally surprised, and pleasantly surprised nonetheless, that whatever I read next will live up. So you'll see me in my what did I read this week to wrap up the rest of the reading week. So that's all that I have for today. You guys, please like the video, and if you've hung out with me for this long, please leave a heart emoji or some kind of emoji at the bottom to let me know that you stuck in there with me through this long video. Also, do me a favor and hit that like button, because it really helps me with the YouTube algorithm, and hit that bell notification button so you can be notified every time I upload a new video, which is whenever I feel like it these days. So that's all that I have for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.